thank you all again. And I also need to let folks know that we do want to record this. So if you have any concerns about that, please put them in the chat or hop off, and you could probably watch the recording later. So I will now turn things over to our project director, Lisa Payne-Simon.
Thank you so much, Amber. Welcome, everyone. It's wonderful to see so many of you here today. I was wondering, does Ken Jenowick, would you like to say a few words of introduction as well? Is Ken with us yet?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Ken.
On behalf of the Health Foundation for Western Central New York, I'd also like to echo, Amber's welcome to this project. We're very excited to have such a large group of attendees today. And this partnership that started in Western New York is growing, obviously. And obviously, I also want to welcome Chris Lemon and his foundation to our team as well. And so I know we have the Western New York and Southeast Michigan connection here today. So just want to, again, on behalf of our foundation, welcome everyone as well.
Thank you so much, Ken and Amber, for those wonderful welcoming comments. And we very much appreciate your collective support of this initiative and of the work of caregivers in Western New York and now in Southeast Michigan. Chris, do you want to do a quick hello, just wave, and so people will know who you are? Chris Lemon, say hi. There we go. Chris is our Senior Investment Officer from Ann Arbor Area Community Foundation, who is our newest funding partner in Exhale, the Family Caregiver Initiative, and we're thrilled to be expanding into Washtenaw County as well. So with that, why don't we jump into our first agenda item, which is walking through our session goals and reviewing the agenda. Let me pull up my slides. Let's see. Can people see the slides?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
No.
See now? Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yes.
Let me put them in slide mode. There we go. Okay. So again, we're welcome to learning a little bit about Exhale, the Family Caregiver Initiative. Our agenda today, really our goals for today are to, after our introductions and welcome, we want to provide some context for why we're focusing on this issue of caregiving and respite. And we'll hear from Ken Jenowick, Senior Program Officer for Caregiving at the Health Foundation for Western and Central New York on that topic. Following that, I will present on an overview and timeline of Exhale, just provide as much information as we can today about what the initiative is all about, try to answer questions. We'll also hear from our current Exhale teams. We're represented today by folks from Ardent Solutions Incorporated, Healthy Community Alliance, and West Falls Center for the Arts. They are our 3 existing respite pilot programs that were developed in the southern tier counties of Western New York. We'll hear more about that effort today and also directly from them about their programs. And then later in the day, we'll get a sneak preview of our approach to creative problem solving and how it's applied to project design. We'll hear from Teresa Lawrence. She'll give us a little sample of what the workshop series will look and feel like, and you'll get a better understanding of what that methodology is all about. And then we'll make sure that we have time for questions and answer at the end. And we'll also open up for questions a few times throughout the day today. So with that, I am thrilled to, well, actually, let me give you a couple of quick, before we dive into the next session, a couple of quick announcements for today. One is we do have a lot of folks on the line, so please remain muted until we have a Q&A opportunity, just to keep the sound control down. I also want to introduce, we have a couple of people with us today that can help with tech support. If you're having any kind of problem with using Zoom or other issues. You could ask in the chat for tech support, or you can ask for Sharon. Sharon, you want to wave? Thanks. Sharon's on my team. And then we also have Rob Kubiak, who is another tech supporter. Sharon, Rob, or tech get you help if you need it. I would also like to mention that throughout the day, we'll share in the chat an opportunity to register for this program. There's two options. One is Western New York Workshop Series and also the Washtenaw County Workshop Series. I'll be alluding to that throughout the day and others as well. So you can sign up here real time if you'd like to join the Exhale program. And I think that was it for items I was going to cover before the next topic, which now is my delight to reintroduce Ken Jenowick, who is the Senior Program Officer for Caregiving. He's going to talk about why caregivers and why respite, representing the Health Foundation. Go ahead, Ken, take it away.
Thanks, Lisa. Again, welcome everyone to our session today. And it's a pleasure to be a part of the session and really to join all of you in such an important discussion around how we can better help family caregivers for older adults in our communities. And I'm happy to provide a little context on today's information session around caregiving and respite. But I know all of you are providing care for caregivers every day. So I can learn more from you than you can from me around why family caregivers are so vital to our community, why they need help, and how important respite can be to give them a break or relief. And I hope to share some new information and statistics with you today to show the growing importance of helping those who help others. So why caregivers? Well, we know caregivers are a large and growing part of our communities. It's estimated that roughly 1 in 4 to 5 individuals in our community are caregivers, although we know that so many caregivers, because they don't self-identify, that number is actually much higher. And while it is growing, it's unfortunately not meeting the growing demand of an aging population. And just to provide some context, in 2010, the ratio of caregivers to those that they're caring for was 7-1. And by 2030, that number is expected to drop to 4-1. And by 2050, the ratio of caregivers to those they're caring for is going to further drop to 3-1. So we know that the demands are greater. Caregivers are an integral part of long-term care, particularly for care that's provided in the home. Family caregivers provide about 80% of long-term care in our country. So we know not only are they working hard to provide care for a loved one, but they're also working themselves. 61% of caregivers are employed and holding down jobs outside of their homes, and their caregiver duties are affecting their work. Most full-time caregivers report going into work late, leaving early, or taking time off to accommodate care. And 10% have had to actually leave their jobs entirely as a result of their caregiving responsibilities. And most importantly, caregivers are burnt out, they're stressed, and they really need support. And we know that caregiving stress is at an all-time high, in particular given the COVID-19 pandemic. 2 population health studies that applied one of our Exhale partners, Archangel's Caregiver Intensity Index, reveal a startling mental health crisis among unpaid caregivers. Among 10,000 US adults surveyed during the pandemic, which included over 1,300 caregivers, revealed that of all unpaid caregivers, 70% reported experiencing mental health issues at that time, with 33% seriously considering suicide within the past 30 days. Those numbers are startling enough, but if you break it down even further into caregiving categories, those numbers jump even higher. Young caregivers, those aged 24 to 43, 45% of them reported considering suicide. Black non-Hispanic caregivers, 80% experienced mental health issues, 46% considered suicide. Hispanic caregivers, those numbers jumped even higher respectively to 90 and 49%. And when you think of sandwich caregivers, those that are providing double duty caregiving, maybe caring for an older loved one, a spouse, and a young child, 52% of them seriously considered suicide. And lastly, those high intensity caregivers, those that are providing overnight 24-hour care, nursing, nursing duties, things like that. 91% of them experience a mental health issue during this at this study, and 54% seriously considered suicide. So startling statistics that just really say caregivers need our support. So why respite? Well, we know that support can come in so many different forms, but respite is a very important source of relief for caregivers. And while respite could come in many different forms, you're going to hear from some very innovative and awesome pilots that are currently happening right now in Western New York. It can provide a short break or relief from caregiver duties. So not only caregivers are getting that break, but one thing we learned is that simply knowing that respite services are available in a community can lower a caregiver's stress by 70%. Just knowing services are available sometimes provides that stress relief that caregivers need. Now, one thing we found interesting is that 86% of caregivers for older adults have never received respite. And so that obviously is another issue. Building respite is one thing. We know that a lot of work is needed to still get caregivers to take that break when it's available. But that also means that they're not receiving respite. That means that it's likely they haven't received other support either, such as caregiver coaching, transportation, in-home care, legal document preparation, things that can really benefit caregivers. This respite can be an entry point into more services that can help caregivers. And lastly, respite can improve overall health and well-being of caregivers and those they care for. And as we know, older adults wanting to remain in their homes and in the communities as long as possible, the caregiver's own physical health has an influential factor in the decision to place an impaired relative in a long-term care facility. So talked a little bit about why we need to help caregivers. We talked about why respite can help. I'm going to pass it back to Lisa, who's going to talk more about how Exhale can be a great opportunity to build respite in your community.
Thank you so much, Ken, for sharing that very compelling information and making the case for why this is such important work that so many of you are already engaged in. Let's spend a few minutes now talking about Exhale. I'll provide an overview and a timeline of what our expanded Exhale. Exhale is an opportunity to reimagine respite in collaboration with others and to receive financial support in the form of grant funding to try out new ideas. Exhale funds innovative collaborative projects that are designed to increase respite opportunities for family caregivers of older adults. It's also an opportunity to collaborate, partner, and think differently, not only about respite, but about project design and management. Exhale has 3 components. Number 1 is training in creative problem solving and project management. This occurs through a short series of fun and interactive workshops that you'll be hearing more about later today. A second key component is grant funding of pilot projects or other initiatives that are designed to create respite opportunities for family caregivers. A third component is support. Through technical assistance and a learning community, we provide support to grantee partners that is designed to support their projects, implementation, sustainability, and expansion. A wide range of supports is offered, and we'll be talking more about that soon. Again, just to recap, Exhale has 3 key components. It's training, it's grants, and it's support, all designed to increase the supply and the range of respite opportunities for family caregivers of older adults and communities. Next, who is Exhale? The Exhale team in Western New York, Exhale is funded by the Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation, that's Amber's foundation, and also by the Health Foundation for Western and Central New York, represented today by Ken. And in Washtenaw County, Michigan, Exhale is funded by the Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation, and also the Ann Arbor Area Community Foundation, represented today by Chris Lemon. Other Exhale partners include the Philanthropic Initiative, which is my organization, and we direct the Exhale program. Teresa Lawrence of International Deliverables is our creative problem-solving expert. The New York Academy of Medicine is our evaluation team. We also partner with Archangels, who are the creators of the Caregiver Intensity Index, which is an online questionnaire for measuring caregiver experience, and we use it in a variety of ways in this project, including evaluation. And also, as Amber mentioned, Fidelis Care and Centene Corporation are our regional and national health insurer partners who are learning together with us about the impact of respite on family caregivers and on the older adults that they care for. So that's our team. Exhale first began back in 2019 in Western New York's rural southern tier counties. It began with a series of creative problem solving workshops and that focused in on that methodology as well as project management. We then had a grant application phase in the spring of 2020 that resulted in 3 pilots that were funded to increase respite opportunities for family caregivers of older adults in those southern tier communities. And ongoing is there is technical assistance and a learning community that continues to support pilots in their efforts to implement these projects, and will continue to support them in sustaining and expanding their projects. So that began over a year ago and will continue until the summer of 2023. Today, we'll be hearing from 3 larger scale pilot projects that emerged from Exhale's first cycle. The first is an intergenerational respite program, and that program is led by Ardent Solutions. The second is Caregiver Tech Solutions, which is an e-respite initiative led by Healthy Community Alliance. And a third is Musical Memories Cafe, which is a performing arts-based respite program developed by the West Falls Center for the Arts. And as Ken said, all 3 of these are innovative, different, new approaches to respite that are very exciting. And you'll be hearing more directly about those projects from them. So the big news for today that excuse me. The big news for today is that Exhale is expanding.
It said Amazon. I hit.
Could someone please mute? The big news for today is that Exhale is expanding in 2022. And we are going to be moving in Western New York into 6 new counties: Erie, Niagara, Genesee, Orleans, Wyoming, and Monroe counties in Western New York, and also in Washtenaw County, Michigan. Our expansion timeline and sequence of activities: we will begin in early January with our workshop series in creative problem solving and project management. There'll be a short series of workshops. Most of these will be virtual. They'll happen about every 3 weeks. They'll start January 5th and they'll go through the end of March. We're hoping to do a final 5th in-person workshop if COVID will allow. And those will be set for the end of March. All of these sessions will be facilitated by Teresa Lawrence. They'll focus in on learning techniques and applying creative problem solving and project management to respite and also to other areas of your work. These are skills you can really bring home to your organizations. Also, during these workshops, we'll be providing information about the grant application process and how to get involved. We will also be sharing with you some hot off the press research on family caregiver perspectives and preferences related to respite. Starting in December and through February, there will be fielding of research in all of the counties that will be operating the Exhale program, actual research with family caregivers to understand what are their interests, preferences, and needs as it relates to respite. So that can help inform respite project design and grant applications. So following the workshops, there will be a grant application process. Letters of intent will be due on or about April 15th. And then there'll be a project and proposal planning period with support for invited teams, followed by final applications and budgets due in June. And then we'll be making grant funding decisions in July, and projects will get started July, August. So what will you learn if you join Exhale and you participate in the workshops? The workshops are really designed to build the skill set, tool set, and mindset of creative leadership, and also to develop project management competencies. You'll gain and practice skills in creative problem solving and project management, and you'll also get practice in the development and applying those skills in the development of respite projects and proposals. Today, a little later on, we'll get a sneak preview from Teresa Lawrence about the creative problem solving methodology and how it's applied, and you'll get a flavor of what that's all about. Participate in Exhale. Any organization that interacts with or supports family caregivers of older adults can apply creative problem solving to reimagine and improve existing respite services or opportunities, or implement new strategies that'll increase respite opportunities, or refer and support caregivers to seek out respite services is another way that participation is possible, that ways that organizations can play in Exhale. Some examples of the kinds of organizations we hope to recruit to this program include health and human service agencies of any and all types that are serving family caregivers and older adults. We hope to invite health systems, healthcare organizations, and home health agencies to participate in Exhale. Community organizations of all types, including, for example, senior centers, community centers, libraries, faith-based organizations. All of those are great candidates for this program. Also, employers and businesses. We hope that human resource departments and EAP programs will get involved and in Exhale and play a role in supporting caregivers in the workplace. We are reaching out to workforce development boards, HR associations, unions, chambers of commerce. We definitely hope to have businesses, employers embrace this issue and get involved. We also are recruiting universities, colleges, school districts. All of these organizations and other types are welcome to participate in Exhale and can play a role. Again, reimagining and improving existing respite services, developing new strategies to provide and support respite, and referring and supporting caregivers are all roles that you can play. So what will we be looking for in a successful grant proposal? Exhale application criteria. So funded Exhale projects are going to meet these criteria. This is what we'll be looking for. Number one will be diverse, collaborative project teams representing multiple organizations that are teaming up locally to work together. We will also be hoping and looking for caregivers playing a role in advising respite project design and implementation, seeking out caregiver input to advise proposals. We will also be looking for evidence that teams have applied creative problem solving in their project design and in their proposal development. The lead agency, i.e. the grantee, must be a nonprofit organization is another criteria. And we also ask teams to agree to participate in the Exhale learning community, which is designed to support grantee partners and be a space where they can learn from each other. Through the learning community, there's a wide range of technical assistance and support that's available for grantee partners, and this is ongoing now in the current cohort. For example, support includes additional training and technical assistance in creative problem solving and project management. Teresa works with us ongoing, and she provides that support to teams periodically and frequently. Also, regular check-ins with Exhale staff on team progress, challenges, needs, technical assistance, opportunities and requirements. We have regular contact. There's also support for evaluation design and evaluation implementation, as well as support for marketing, communications, and outreach. And also, we will help the teams with strategies for sustainability and to help think about expansion of their programs over time. So what are some frequently asked questions regarding Exhale? One is, who's eligible to participate in the workshops that'll be starting in January? The answer is any organization based in the 7 counties can participate in these workshops. They're free. In fact, there's a stipend of $500 for any organization that attends at least 4 of the workshops. So we highly encourage organizations to join those workshops. There's a lot of great learnings from them in creative problem solving and project management that's applicable to this program and beyond. And then the next item we have is who's eligible for Exhale grants. As I mentioned, there will be a grant application process in the spring of 2022. Workshop participating nonprofits in the 7 counties are eligible to apply for grants. So you must have participated in the workshop series. And if you're a nonprofit, you can apply for a grant and be a lead agency. For-profit organizations may participate and receive Exhale funding if they're working in partnership with their nonprofit lead agencies. So for example, for-profits and nonprofits can work together in teams. There can be various roles, and for-profits can receive some reimbursement for their time and effort through that partnership. What are the grant awards? What is the size of the range of grant awards is another question. Grant awards will be up to $300,000. We anticipate that a range of projects in dollar amount and duration will be funded. And it's not likely that more than a few will be funded at that maximum amount. So what that means is that smaller projects, pilots, and experiments are encouraged. And we also advise that project duration can be up to 3 years or less. They don't have to be a full 3-year pilot. We often get questions about, is capital allowable as a grant, funded expense? And we want to just clarify from the outset that Exhale funding is intended for respite programs and services. In other words, proposals that are primarily brick and mortar or building capital requests will not be considered. However, if a funded project demonstrates need for additional or renovated physical space, increased or new caregiver participation in respite services must be shown for a reasonable period of time before funds for physical space will be released. And these funds must be a modest portion of the award, i.e. no more than $20,000 or 25% of a grant, whichever is less. So let me just recap that. In other words, a small amount of funding for renovation or space is allowable only after funded projects demonstrate successful caregiver participation for some period of time, and it's a modest request dollar amount not to exceed $20,000. So that's our policy on capital. Lastly, funded projects can be new ideas or they can be improvements to existing respite strategies. And again, just to recap, in order to be considered for funding, all teams must collaborate. We're looking for multiple organizations to team up and work together in communities. We're also looking for evidence of family caregiver input into the respite project design and implementation. We're also going to be looking for evidence of application of creative problem solving and project management techniques from the workshops into your thinking and your proposal design. So Exhale is here. Next steps to get involved. Please register for the Exhale Creative Problem Solving Workshop Series. It is the first step toward developing a respite program of your own through Exhale. You can register right now. As soon as my slides are done here, you can register right now and chat. You can also register online at our website, which is www.exhaleforcaregivers.org. As I mentioned, lead organizations, in order to be a grantee, you must have participated in the workshops. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you'd like to participate in this program, please register for these workshops. And we'll be hearing more from Teresa later today about what you'll learn, and you'll get a feel of how she operates them. They're lots of fun and very interactive. And they will start January 5th. If you have questions, you can contact me. I'm happy to talk about the program If you want to discuss participation, feel free to email me at the address you see here, lsimon@tpi.org. You can also reach out to my colleague Sharon, whose email is also there. Sharon can help you with workshop registration and any kind of questions along those lines. Sharon's big help along those. With that, why don't we, let me see how we're doing on time. I think we're good. Let's stop and take questions for just a couple of minutes before we dive into our next agenda item. Do we have, Sharon, do we have in the chat the registration links? Thank you so much. That's great. And do we have any questions that came through in chat?
Lisa?
Yes.
There was a message from Nicole. ECMC isn't a nonprofit, but instead a public benefit corporation. So that means we need to be partnership with a nonprofit to be considered. Is that that's a question?
Public benefit corporation. I would need to look into that and answer you shortly. I just want to make sure I would be answering accurately. Sounds promising, but I need to just check into it. I promise I will.
Another question came up and said from Sierra Johnston, and she said, what role do volunteers play in this initiative?
Volunteers can play a wide range of different roles. They can be involved in providing respite services. They can be involved in outreach. There's an unlimited number of ways that volunteers can be involved. Caregivers can be volunteers. I think volunteers are often, you'll hear more from the three existing pilot programs about how they're incorporating volunteers. That's something we can do in a little bit, but I think there's a whole wide range of ways that people are participating in these programs, primarily in providing respite services and also getting the word out to local organizations that they might be affiliated with, that type of thing. And we need more volunteers, so that's a great question and good thinking. Thanks. Feel free to go ahead and unmute yourself if you'd like to ask a question.
I have a question. Hello, everyone. I'm Anne Marie Klosko from Elder Transition Consulting. I'm a senior move manager. I work with our elder population and their families with the process of downsizing, either downsizing to age in place or to move to senior living. My question is, would I have to be involved with somebody in this group who signs up to kind of be a part of the effort, or would I have to pull people in and creative problem solve with them in order to come up with an idea? So I didn't know if it was exclusive just to the people on the call, or we need to pull other people in.
Thank you for asking that question. That's a great question. You're welcome to pull in anyone from your community that you think is a good partner, a good candidate for this work. There's a lot of people on the call today that you could also reach out to, and it's not limited to who's in, who's on today or who's in the workshops. We had with the three existing pilot projects that we currently have in the program, some of them forged their partnerships at the workshops, and others added to those partnerships in their communities. So there's no recipe for exactly how that has to play out. You're welcome to bring in other agencies from your neighborhoods.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other questions? Is an organization obligated to move forward after attending the workshops? No. You can choose whether or not to submit an application, and there are no conditions on how to use the stipend received for attending the workshop. Not at all. It's designed to reimburse you for time, effort, travel. If we end up being able to have an in-person session, it's really just a thank you for participating. And we'll be offering one stipend per organization. If we were to receive a grant, is there a partnership beyond the grant, reporting, et cetera? As part of your collaboration, you might envision a collaborative budget process. There's no requirements around how you report to your partners. It's really sort of how you want to set that up within your own project. We do ask that grantee partners, that the lead agency do a report of a grant report every 6 months. It's just sort of a standard report to our team about how things are going and how the dollars are being spent. Nothing too terribly onerous, but that's really the only required reporting that is part of this. And beyond that, you can set up your own processes and communication strategies with your teams. Let me see what else we have here. A local government agency would have to collaborate with a nonprofit as well. Another excellent question. I need to check that and look into it. That said, I will say, Melissa, thank you for asking that. In the counties where we're currently operating, Offices for the Aging are involved in every single project. So there's definitely participation. I will answer your question offline. I want to look into that and make sure that I'm answering it accurately, but I absolutely think there would be a way to participate. Other questions people want to voice? I'm looking through here. I see some registration requests. That's wonderful. On the question about volunteers, we are super excited to have volunteers participate in this project. And I think engaging volunteers to support caregivers and communities is a fabulous way to embark on this work. So I want to encourage you to think about how that could look in your community. Let's see what else. Any other questions? We'll have time. We'll also, you can keep thinking. You can put questions in the chat. We'll have an opportunity to ask questions again after we hear from the teams, the 3 pilot teams that are currently operating Excel programs. And then we'll also have questions at the end of the day. So there'll be a couple of chances to ask us questions as you might think about them and based on things you're hearing. But please continue to put any questions you have in the chat. You can also, if you think about it after today, you can follow up with me as well. We will share the presentation and we'll also share a recording of today's session on our, we'll put that on our website as well. We'll send out a note to you all for thanking you for participating today, and we'll include that information as well. Last call for questions before we move to our next item.
I have another question. Sorry.
Yes. Oh, please.
I've never gone through a grant process before, so I'm relatively new in my business, but I guess my question is if I was allocated a certain amount of funds for a grant, could I use it to purchase maybe a vehicle for like moving purposes or to hire people so that I could expand the awareness of my organization or something like that? I mean, is there very specific things that you have to spend the money on, or are you just, once you kind of go through the creative solving process, you get approved and everything? I'm assuming that part of that process is really identifying where those funds are going to get spent. Is that it?
Yeah, I mean, we would invite you to provide some feedback to us about how you're thinking about spending the funding. And yes, people do use the funds to support some staff time. People are using funds to support some transportation type activities. I don't know of any examples like the one you mentioned, but there's definitely some transportation help going on in some communities. That can be part, is allowable as part of this grant, because getting people to a respite opportunity, particularly if they don't have transportation or they're in a rural area, is very allowable.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay, my pleasure. I'm happy to chat off after too, if that's helpful. Okay, all of a sudden, tons of questions. The presentation will be shared. I am part of a current health system, faith-based org, and university team. Can we all register? Yes. Yes. I am already registered for the New York series, but is there an opportunity to? Yes, absolutely. That's a great question, Sasha. She says she's already registered for the New York series, but is there an opportunity to list our organization somewhere as willing to be part of a partnership group if mutually beneficial? That is something that we can and will do during the workshop series. There'll be tons of opportunities to cross-pollinate among the participants in that workshop series. And as somebody asked earlier, do your partners have to come from that group? They don't, but it's a great place to find them. So Sasha, that's a great question, and we will definitely foster collaboration within the workshop series, and you can do that beyond workshop series. Any other questions? Okay, I think that might be it for questions for the moment, but please keep them coming and use the chat. It's a great way. We'll get back to them. I promise by the end of the day, we'll cover everybody's questions. And if not, you can always follow up with me or Sharon. So with that, we've spent a few minutes talking about the nuts and bolts of Exhale and the overview and the timeline, and answered a few questions. But there's really no better way to learn about this initiative than to hear directly from the teams that have gone through the workshops and have developed proposals and programs and implemented those programs in communities in the southern tier counties of Western New York. So with that, it's my true pleasure to introduce our next topic, which is hearing from current Exhale teams. And I want to start by introducing our speakers. So today we have Ashley Conti is representing the Caregiver Tech Solution Respite Program. And that again is an e-respite program. And Ashley is Director of Programs at Healthy Community Alliance. Hi, Ashley. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi.
We also have Carolyn Panzica. Carolyn is representing the Musical Memories Cafe Respite Program, and she is Executive Director of West Falls Center for the Arts. And today you'll be hearing from Jose Soto. Jose is representing the Intergenerational Enrichment and Educational Respite Program. Jose is with Ardent Solutions, and he is their Systems Transformation Manager. And another fun fact about Jose is you'll see him in our video today, which will happen next, but he won't be a speaker with us today because he and his wife had a brand new baby, their first, over the weekend. So he's working on that today. But you'll have a chance to hear about his program. I'll do my best to answer questions about it, and we can also follow up with them if there's any questions specific for Jose's program. So with that, I want to, before we dive into some live question and answer with our pilot teams today, let's watch a brief video of their work in Exhale. It's a 4-minute video, and I think it does a good job of summarizing why they're doing it and how it's all happening. Sharon, thank you for teeing up the video.
1 in 4 people living in the United States are caregivers. It means that it's likely that you know someone who's a caregiver. I know someone who's a caregiver.
Not only is it a very important job, but it's probably at times a very stressful job and lonely and sometimes invisible job. Exhale aims to give more respite opportunities for caregivers and adults in Western New York.
Exhale offers an opportunity to look at a diverse set of solutions for caregivers because there isn't a one-size-fits-all. The entire project team with Exhale is really designed around being creative and thinking outside the box. Every idea is important.
Rural caregivers often have less supports because of the geographical barriers, which includes traveling more far distances to be able to get services. Caregiver Tech Solutions brings tech solutions to caregivers' homes to be able to give them a break. So our team is trying to, filter through all of those gamut of choices and really put forward the top ones for caregivers. So some things you might think about are the indoor-outdoor cameras, thinking about everything you can do with an iPad now, telehealth appointments, FaceTiming loved ones, playing games, all of those types of things. And so these aren't these crazy innovative products or robots coming to people's home. It's learning how to use your smartphone better. But most people are saying, wow, I didn't even know I could do this. And what a low cost idea and opportunity for them to get respite.
I'm with the Intergenerational Enrichment and Educational Respite Program. It's a very unique program because it's in a school. It's in a school-based setting. We invite the caregivers and their loved ones to join us on campus. The benefit of connecting the older adults with the kids here in this program, they have an opportunity to spend time with some of the students and then also share with them some of their own experiences, some of their memories of when they were in school, or some of their own skills or trades that they spent a career developing. So it's really a beautiful thing to see.
It's been proven time and time again that music is so beneficial for everyone, really, but particularly those with memory challenges. A lot of the folks that come to the Memory Cafe, they can't come to the evening concert. So these musicians come at noon, and we have this amazing lunch, and we have an incredible hour of music where they can enjoy it together. We have people that come in the door that have not had a conversation with anyone for months, and they come in and they sing the words to every song for the entire hour. We have people that couldn't walk into the door because they forgot how, and they get up and they dance with their spouse and through all the music. And it's just, it's for that hour that they get to have a good time and sort of be normal again. It's inspiring every time we do it.
If someone's been working with older adults and they're looking at tackling respite, and they have a kernel of an idea, engage with Exhale and their project team and help you make that kernel flourish into an idea and an initiative.
If you want to create an opportunity for caregivers, why would you not welcome the assistance of the experts in their fields? We all know a little bit about what we do, and we might be an expert in a certain part of it, but to have all those helping hands and someone whose mission is to help you succeed in your mission, why would you not invite that help?
The most basic thing that community-based organizations can do is support all of those folks in the community who are making everything continue and run. I think caregivers are truly the unsung heroes.
Thank you all so much. That video, I think, speaks volumes to all the beautiful and hard work that you all have done to launch this program and are continuing to do in your communities. We have some time now. A few more questions we could maybe explore with you all today that can shed some additional light on your experience with this program. One thing that might be helpful for others on the call today is if you wouldn't mind describing your project team a little bit, because as I mentioned in the previous presentation, that collaboration is part of what we require in this project. So describe your collaborations if you wouldn't mind. Ashley, why don't you go first?
So our team consists of Healthy Community Alliance, which is the agency I work for. We also have Total Senior Care, which is a PACE program, a program for all-inclusive care based in Olean. We also are partnering with the Office for Aging for Wyoming County, and then also Department of Aging for Cattaraugus County. We also have a faith-based organization, Interfaith Caregivers, as a partner agency, as well as Directions in Independent Living, that also has New York Connect staff, as well as, the Department of Aging and Office for Aging have them as well. So we have quite a big team for our collaborative.
Me? You want me to go?
Yeah, sure. Please, Carolyn. Thank you. Thanks, Ashley. Go ahead, Carolyn.
I'm with West Coast Center for the Arts, and we put on the Musical Memory Cafe here twice a month. We are working with the in the North Towns, the Amherst Senior Center, to do it there twice a month. Steve Harvey, who is the CEO of Integrity Partnership, is helping us with our replication of the program. And then we have a lot of local partners, the Alzheimer's Association, Memory Care Facilities, SPCA, Pause for Love, Independent Nursing Care, Network and Aging, Family Choice of Western York, area restaurants, musicians.
Thank you. And I'll just, I know we don't have Jose in person today, but I'll share that the intergenerational respite program is Ardent Solutions working in partnership with the Genesee Valley Central School District. It's a school-based program, as Jose mentioned. And they also are partnering with the Allegheny County Office for the Aging, which plays a variety of roles, including providing referrals and support for getting folks into the program and serving as a referral for folks that might need additional support beyond that program. Let me ask another question is, in your experience, what impact is Exhale having on family caregivers that are your participants? What are you seeing? I know it's early in your programs, but give us a flavor of the kind of feedback you've been seeing.
We've gotten amazing feedback. Well, it's the benefits are immeasurable. There's less stress, better relationships with their loved ones, opportunities to experience life like may have been in the past, reduced anxiety. We get emails, letters. I just got an email. Someone actually passed away. We did caroling last year. We're going to do it again this year. We went took our music program from house to house during the holidays and caroling. And apparently the man that passed away last month, it just meant so much to him. He watched it almost every day. They videotaped it and he watched it every day. And she just wrote me a letter saying that he passed away, but how much that meant to her. And things like that we see at every event that we have, folks that can't walk or can't talk, who sing and dance and enjoy life for an hour at least, with their loved one.
Thank you. That's a really beautiful story. Ashley, how about you?
So one recent success story that I'll share is one of our caregivers received treatment for cancer in Roswell. And one of the tech solutions that we provided is a way for her to continue to care for her mother while she goes through those appointments. She's out in Cat County, Roswell's out in Buffalo. So it's quite a day for a trip for her. And one of the tech solutions that the coach worked with her on was to install some home cameras. And that allowed her to have that sense of relief just to check on her mom to make sure everything was okay. She was still in the house and that she was doing well. And that provided her with such a great reduction in stress for her to get the treatment that she needs in order to care for herself so that she can care for her loved one as well. And so we just hear great examples of how people are using technology. Again, things that are low cost, things that can be easily implemented. Another one that we've heard great success with is using an iPad. And the caregiver noted that it was the first time she didn't hear her mother complain about her pain over and over again because she was so engrossed in the game and was having so much fun. And what a relief that was for the caregiver as well, so that they didn't have to feel that burden that their loved one was hurting, and they could see them having a great time. So caregivers are just excited about kind of learning these new things that they can use with technology, but also providing them relief when they're at home and haven't been able to get out as much because of COVID and some other geographical barriers, of course, in rural communities.
Thank you, Ashley. I'll just chime in briefly from the Ardent Solutions team, the Intergenerational Respite Program. They have shared some beautiful examples of older adults and grade school kids interacting. They're reading together. They're sharing stories of personal history. Older adults and caregivers as historians sharing their lives and vignettes from history with young children. They have some beautiful photos of just interaction, walking down the hall together, working on gardening projects together, lots of different ways that caregivers are benefiting from that opportunity as well. And with that program, caregivers can either participate at the school on site with their loved one, or they can drop off their loved one and then go to the doctor or go run errands or go do whatever it is they need to do for a couple of hours while the older adult is busy with educational and enrichment activities on site with kids. The school has been a tremendous partner. They've been very welcoming, working really hard with, all during COVID. They've been a great partner. I just want to shout out for that team as well. Let me ask also, how has Exhale technical assistance, the learning community, and other support been helpful to your team and your projects? And we talked about the learning community again in the last session. What has that meant? How has that been useful and helpful to you all in developing these projects and now implementing them?
It's been super useful. We've been able to rebrand and work on some marketing with a company called Inspired Outcomes. The exercises with Teresa are fun, but they also sort of allow you to look at a possible problem or obstacle in a new way, or even show you what those obstacles are that maybe you didn't even see. The Caregivers Intensity Index has been super useful for us. Even today, we had a meeting with Crowley Webb to talk about our own strategies in marketing. And I hope actually that there's an opportunity to use the benefits of the programs of our fellow grantees at some point too. There's no reason why we can't all work together, I think.
Thank you, Carolyn. That's great. Ashley, how about you?
Yeah, just to echo some of what Carolyn already just said, is we receive support in evaluation. The New York Academy of Medicine has helped us with our pre and post. And then, as Carolyn mentioned, the Caregiver Intensity Index by Archangels, we've gotten it to be able to use that tool and be able to get the data from that so that we can better improve our programs, which has been great. And Teresa has been so helpful in her creative problem solving and project management support. We did sessions with caregivers virtually. Teresa was there in the very beginning before COVID to do an in-session person with us, which is awesome. And so we continue to engage Teresa of really to overcome any barriers. Again, think of things that we might not have thought about and generate new ideas. And then the support with marketing, which is absolutely awesome. Crowley is such a great resource to have. And then, of course, the learning communities where we're all able to get together and kind of learn from one another and see if there's anything that we can add to our programs that someone else is doing really well. So it's been really great for all of the support.
Thank you so much. I'll just chime in again. So Ardent Solutions has also participated in throughout the first year of the project. During the implementation phase, there was support for developing your work plan. There was support for developing your evaluation. There was also support. Teresa did a couple of sessions with the teams around brainstorming, using creative problem solving, like what might be all the ways to get the word out about this program and who could be your partners. So to lay the groundwork for marketing, outreach, and communication. We're getting some support from Crowley Webb now, as both folks alluded to. We just met with them today, now that the projects have launched. So it's ongoing, and there will continue to be support as the projects mature and their needs change and evolve. We hope to be partners in support throughout that whole trajectory. What advice do you have for others considering Exhale? Who would like to start?
Well, what I said last time is that my advice is you should definitely do it. I can't think of a reason not to. If you have an idea, if you have a passion for something, they can only assist you in at least sort of focusing on how it should move forward, attend the learning opportunities, and let them help you get on track and stay on track.
Thanks, Carolyn.
Yeah, that's great. I was just going to say, Exhale has so many opportunities and is so expansive on types of creative ways to support caregivers. And there's so many different types of caregivers out there. There's, now it's an expansion into Erie County and parts of Michigan. And some things that might work there might not have worked in rural communities, but that's awesome. Exhale gives you that opportunity that it doesn't have to be this one size fits all opportunity for caregivers, but you can develop with your team what makes most sense for your communities. And you all will know what your caregivers need. And we've been able to have that is really that unique fit of what is going to be best for our community. And Exhale has provided that. So if you're questioning it or wondering about it, I really encourage you to attend the sessions, see how fun Teresa can be, and just kind of lean in that support that Exhale can offer.
Thank you both so much. You all have been pioneers in launching this Exhale work, and we're so incredibly proud and impressed with the work that you've been doing. Want to open it up for questions. I think we've got a couple in chat. Let's see. What have you learned from the ongoing learning collaborative that has strengthened your programs? That's a great question.
What was the question?
What have you learned from the learning collaborative, the ongoing learning collaborative that we do that has strengthened your programs?
I could go first. Through one of the learning communities, we had an opportunity to bring in the Roslyn Institute for Caregivers, and the presenter went over virtual empathy. So this is something that we've implemented in our program, as our program is based telephonically and virtually, is the idea of, instead of being this floating head, which I am right now, how to be more engaging like it was an in-person session, and how to make that connection with people, and how to make people feel safe and want to talk about some of the things that they're experiencing. So that was a great takeaway from the learning communities that we've implemented in our own e-respite coaching workshop.
Yeah, all of the, I think all of our programs are so different, but we're all serving a similar population. Even if one of the programs doesn't speak to what you're doing exactly, that there's something to learn in all of them that you can take away. I think we're all helping to sort of redefine what respite is.
Thank you. I mean, the learning community is really a place where we meet several times a year as all participants come together, staff, teams, everyone. And it's where we share ideas, we share information and expertise. We've had, some of them have been focused on evaluation. Some of them have been focused on sharing what teams are working on and where they are in their progress. One of the main things we want to do with the learning community is cross-pollinate ideas. And Carolyn alluded to this a minute ago, sharing of what's working, what's not working. You all have really helped inform and shape each other's work. And it's been really nice to see that community emerging in this. It's really happening. And now with the expansion into 7 other counties, our learning community opportunities are only going to grow, which will be exciting and fun to continue that cross-pollination opportunity. So that's really what it's all about. We bring in content experts. As Ashley mentioned, we did have the Rosalind Carter Institute for Caregivers come, and there will be many more events like that. We're planning on having Crowley Webb, our communications and marketing experts, come to the next learning community to help, help the teams along on that, because that's a topic that's timely right now for their work. And we'll also have other presentations in the future that will start to hone in on sustainability and how, what are some strategies for helping support programs like this into the future beyond the grant phase? How can that look like? What are some best practices? So that's a sneak preview of the future. But that's really, the learning community is really our convening space where we all come together and share ideas and progress. Any other questions? Great question. Any other questions for our teams? Anything else you guys want? Oh, please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Julie. I have a volunteer respite program, and that's run through the Western New York Alzheimer's Association. And so just listening to a little bit about what you do, I'm not sure that writing a whole grant or like would work for us, but I'm just wondering if like some of the programs that you guys are doing would be able to collaborate with some of the smaller respite programs, or if you have worked with some of the Alzheimer's Association respite programs so far.
Sure. Well, the Alzheimer's Association has sent a bus out a couple times with participants. I'm not sure if you have any, if you're at your offices right now, you haven't been for quite a while, but they have participated in our program, and we welcome any and all volunteers to help. The caregivers help. We have Aspire come and their participants volunteer. Yeah, we would love to, in any way we can help or partner with you would be wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll also just mention each one of the existing projects has its own website and profile. You can access their links through our Exhale, the www.exhale for caregivers main website. There's a section on current grantee partners, and you can learn about each one of these programs, connect to each one of these programs. There's links to their websites, and want to highly encourage folks to support our existing teams as well as think about expansion opportunities in some of these new geographies that you all are in. So this is good. What else? Any other questions? Ashley and Carolyn, anything else that you guys want to add? Anything I didn't ask that you'd like to share? All right, well, thank you. Last call for questions for our speakers for now, and then you can still continue to put them in chat and we'll talk at the end as well. I think people are liking what you had to say. You have my creative juices flowing is the feedback. So that's great. That's exactly what we were hoping for. There's no better way to do that than to hear from our stars here today. So thank you so much, both of you, all three teams, for the great work you're doing. So with that, I would love to move to our next section of the agenda, the sophisticated problem solver, separating idea generation from idea evaluation. And this section will be led by Teresa Lawrence, who you've heard a lot about today. I'm delighted and honored to introduce Teresa Lawrence as she is president of International Deliverables, and she provides professional facilitation, training, and consulting services on the integration of creative problem solving in project and program management. And she also consults in stakeholder engagement, leadership development, and organizational change. She's a key part of this project and heart and soul of our work together in creative problem solving. So with that, I want to turn it over to Teresa to give you a sneak preview of what these workshops will be all about and get a sense of what we'll do together.
Good. Lisa, friends, thank you so much. Nice to meet all of you. As I pull up my screen, if you would just do the following, let's just take about 20 seconds. Look to your right, look to your left, look at least 20 yards away from where you're sitting on your computer. Blink, stand up, sit down, but change your scenery just a second to give your eyes and your body a little bit of a break. Blink. There we go. I see Karen. Karen's doing some airplanes like that. All righty. Friends, here we go. We'll spend about the next 30 minutes together. And as Lisa said, I will highlight for you some examples. We'll actually even practice and show you some of the work that we'll be doing together. My dear friend and colleague, Rob, will be helping out. We're going to look for some ideas. You're going to be using your chat to generate some ideas. We'll practice and we'll apply. So let me just jump right into it. This is me, Teresa Lawrence, and the work that I do and the work that we'll be doing together over the course of all of our workshops is on the intersection of creativity and project management. I'm an alum of the International Center for Studies in Creativity. 65 years of research in creativity defines it as novel and useful. Novelty that's useful. You've heard Lisa, you've heard Ken, you've heard Amber talk about this desire to have new, expanded programs that are useful, creativity that's useful. And the other investment in you is in training and project management to try to shift you from a to-do list to a project management oriented mindset as you create this unique deliverable, whether that be your proposal or in fact, your new project in its entirety. The work that I do and the work that I share with you is once we intersect these two, we have significantly increased value. As we heard Ashley talk about, really helping us figure out what's the real problem, solving the problem, not the symptom, adding value from creativity into your work, and looking at stakeholder engagement and understanding your problem so that your proposal and your projects will come about more smoothly, more effectively, and certainly a little bit more efficiently. I'll give you a second just to look at this. We'll talk a little bit about this intersection. You'll learn explicitly the creative problem-solving process. And what is that? It's a structured process for solving problems or finding opportunities, friends, especially when you want to go beyond conventional thinking. You're looking for novel and useful solutions. A project, on the other hand, is defined as a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a new product, service, or result. We'll teach you creative problem solving. We'll teach you a little bit about project management, up your ante there, and certainly take you forward from where you are already. And we'll intersect those two so you have a high quality proposal and an even better project outcome. Top level objectives from our time together, as Lisa said, building your skill set, tool set, mindset in creative leadership and project management competencies. We're looking to help strengthen either new collaborations or existing ones with an eye on respite programs for caregiver of the elderly, and looking to equip you to use this process back at your home, back at your work, in this proposal and in this project. And in just a second, I'll talk to you about this, increasing your team's synergy, your organization itself, but also the leadership team from the organization or organizations with whom you'll collaborate. So let's jump right in. At the crux of creative problem solving is this thing called the dynamic balance between divergent thinking and convergent thinking. Divergent thinking, a search for novel, diverse ideas. I want you to imagine being a child in a playground with a stick and a gum wrapper and a piece of paper and a cloth, all the things that they will make. Convergent thinking, on the other hand, think editor, where we start to assess and evaluate any one of these ideas that we've generated. Friends, the thing about creative problem solving, first takeaway today and in our work together, sometimes we diverge, sometimes we converge. We always have a balance between the two, but here's the key takeaway. We never do them at the same time. If you're in a car, you cannot have your foot on the gas and on the brake at the same time. Well, I mean, you could, except you won't go anywhere and it's not good for the car. The same thing holds true when solving problems. Generate idea first, then evaluate ideas. Visually, it looks like this. We have a challenge or an opportunity, something fuzzy that we want to solve, and we diverge. Generate, 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 generate. Then we ask, do we have enough ideas? And when we say yes, then we begin to seek out and converge. Why? Because that's where we'll come up with a novel and useful idea. Generate lots and lots and lots of ideas. So friends, if you would just think about before COVID or recently, or do you have any upcoming baby showers or bar mitzvah, or maybe even a wedding coming up? I've attended lots of weddings, and here's a quick story. I asked the photographer, how many wedding pictures did you take? She said about 3. I said, 3? Yeah, about 3,000. I show the bride and groom about 900. They pick about 50. That's less than 2% of all pictures taken. What you want, friends, is the gift of quantity. We want you to be thinking about ideas as wedding photos. If you have a process, we will not be overwhelmed by the number of ideas. If we don't have a process, selecting becomes and feels personal. Here's the thing about ideas. They're not actions, they're not decisions, they're not conclusions, and they're certainly not feelings. Here's what I'd like you to do. I'm going to put something up, and then I'm going to say it. I'm going to count to 3, and I'm going to have you say it. Ready? Ideas don't have feelings, people do. I'm going to count to 3. Wherever you're sitting or standing, go ahead and repeat after me. 1, 2, 3, go.
Ideas don't have feelings, people do.
People do, exactly. Here's a little cartoon or time together. You'll get a lot of my cartoons. Do you like my idea? I need to think about it. You mean you plan to wait a few weeks and then act as if that idea was yours? Now that's an idea I like right away. Friends, without a process, it becomes personal. So let's begin our work in practice. As with most things in life, there's rules. And when we diverge, there are 4 critical rules as well. Number 1, when we're generating ideas, defer judgment, both good and bad. There is a time to assess ideas. It's just not when you're generating ideas. Number 2, strive for quantity. Think of ideas as wedding pictures, lots of them. Number 3, build on the ideas of others. We're going to be typing some ideas in the chat in just a moment. If you see something or hear something that triggers something else, great. Hijack it and piggyback it. And lastly, seek novelty. Seek novelty. You have a perfect opportunity to generate and receive some funds for a new idea for respite opportunities. Go for wild and crazy. So let's practice. If everybody will just pick up their fingers and wiggle them a little bit to loosen them up, because I'm going to have you, if you would, locate the chat feature in your Zoom. We're going to go for about 30 ideas in 2 minutes. I'll be keeping track. Rob will be keeping count. And I want you to think of your ideas as wedding pictures. So in your mind, if you can imagine it's pre-COVID or coming out of COVID, it's Christmas time, maybe even over the spring break, you'll go away. I want you to think about lugging up your suitcase from the basement. And friends, what might be all the ways to improve a suitcase? If you would please put your ideas in the chat or say them out loud. What might be all the ways to improve a suitcase? If you're typing, I'll share some of the ideas. What might be all the ways to improve a suitcase? Make it as light as possible. More compartments, add more colors. Lighter weight, easier weight. Friends, how about this? When you look at this picture, what ideas do you get for improving a suitcase? Good quality fabric, sync to Alexa, durable, increased capacity, compartment for dirty clothes, section, fluffy keychains. A couple of pictures. What ideas do you get for improving a suitcase when you look at this picture? Built-in packing list, make it sense solar panel for laptops, make it secure, contact information. Doing a great job, friends. I'm going to share with you a couple of pictures. What ideas do you get for improving a suitcase when you look at this picture? Auto tracker, contact information, wheel packing for wine, fresh colors, collapsible, snack compartment. Doing a great job. What about this, friends? What ideas do you get for improving a suitcase when you look at this picture? You don't want to crush it. What ideas do you get for improving a suitcase when you look at this picture? Cooler space for baby food or milk. Talks to you and calls out your name. Leaving the kids at home. What about this? What ideas do you get for improving a suitcase when you look at this picture? Lightweight, water repellent, different color options, durable. Umbrella compartment. You're doing a great job, friends. Neon colors, colors flies through the air with the greatest of ease. One last picture, friends. What ideas do you get for improving your suitcase when you look at this picture? Device for seeing impaired to use instead of a cane or detect safe path. Nothing is impossible. Rideable pet compartment. Great. Doing a great job. Thank you. If you want to just write down your last idea for improving the suitcase, that would be great. Go ahead and put that in the chat. Makes noise. You can sit on it. And I'm going to ask my friend Rob if he was able to. Rob, how many ideas did we have in that just over 2 minutes? Any idea?
We had 62.
62 ideas for improving a suitcase. Terrific. Some of the things, right? What's with the deal with the pictures? It's called combinant thinking, and it's one of the many tools that you use. Stephen King had to say this about combinant thinking. There's no central story, island of the very best sellers. How he comes up with an idea, two completely unrelated things come together to make something new. And the first tool that you would have learned is this thing called forced connections. You take a prop and a problem, and you use them together to generate new ideas, often your more novel ideas. And all you simply ask is, what ideas do I get for solving this problem, fixing this solution when I look at this picture? You want tools, you want scenery, you want animals, you want food, you want people. You can look around. It's the thing that you ask. And why do we want to do that? Why do we want to do that? Because when we're generating ideas, often two things happen. After a little bit, we fall silent. We get uncomfortable with the silence, and we think that must be the only ideas there are. Not true. Remember, we want lots of ideas. So friends, let's connect this to your work. Let me teach you one more tool. We'll jump in. It's called word dance. It's musical chairs with words. Like Inuit Stan had 50 different words for snow. I'm sure we can relate to that. And the tool is a divergent tool that lets us substitute phrases, nouns, verbs for alternate meaning making and representation. You might see it like this. If you remember these little word puzzles that are in the paper, home sweet home, all of these words on the right-hand side, and we tend to find them in the puzzle. The point that I would want you to be thinking about are these alternative words for home. So again, if you want to wiggle your fingers, if you want to say it out loud, put it in the chat. We'll practice it. We'll always practice it before we use it. So let's look at this. Let's practice. What might be all the other words you can use for slippers? If you want to type a couple words in that chat before we jump into our work. Foot covering. Let's just see if we can get one or two. Other words for slippers. House shoes, support feet, warm shoes. Great. Let's try another one. What might be all the words? Let's list some names where meals are bought and sold. What might be some words where meals are bought and sold? Great. Kiosk, supermarket, cafe, excellent. One more. What might be all the words to describe confusion? Lost, disarray, chaos, anxiety, delirium, muddy thinking, perplexed. Wow, Lisa, we've got ourselves one high-flying group here. All right, ready? Let's focus on your work. Let's shift to your work, why we're here to generate novel and useful ideas for respite. One more time, Rob is going to try to keep count. I'll show you some pictures. What I'm going to do is ask you to type in the chat. And what I'd like you to think about are all the other words to describe respite. Whenever you're ready, go ahead. I'm going to put on my timer for 3 minutes. What might be all the words for respite? Time off, self-care, regroup, relief, break, either vacation, weekend away, renew. You're doing a great job, friends. Keep them coming. Time out, me time. As you're typing, I'll put up a couple pictures. What might be all the words, all the other words we could use for respite? Play, escape, self-care, support, hiatus, getaway, assistance, outside in nature, renew, adventuring, personal growth, time to regroup. What might be all the other words you can think of for respite when you look at this picture? Exhale, organization, find space, pause for self-care, safe places. The range of options is good. What might be all the words you can think of for respite when you look at this picture? Refuel, recharge, sweet, fellowship, happy hour, sweet relief, delicious. Respite, friends, what might be all the words for respite? Indulgence, a stolen moment. Group. What ideas do you get for other words for respite when you look at this picture? Support, downtime, reconnect, planning, R&R, nurtured, comfort, just for me. Pet therapy. What about this? What ideas do you get for respite when you look at this picture? Self-compassion. Anything goes. Time for housework, accomplishment, push away, engage. Renew to plow forward, slip away, clear my head, a clear path. Couple more. Change path, time to explore, diverge, more than one way. Looking for words other than respite, crossroads, exchange, care options, new door, on track. How about this? Travel. What might be all the other words you can think of for respite? Work with a team, alternatives, wake up, unison, invigorating exercise, community effect, community effort, safety in numbers, rejoin the world, destination. Thank you, friends. If you want to write down your last handful of ideas that come to mind. When we're working together, the thing that I would ask is, do we need more time for more ideas? Number one. And number two, did everybody have a chance to weigh in? Did everybody have a chance to have their ideas be heard? The goal is to increase team synergy, inclusivity, equity, and we're going to be using this cognitive diversity that we all possess in creative problem solving. So Rob, what do we think? How many words did we have for respite?
Well, by my count, I got 171 approximately.
Approximately 171 words. That's fantastic. We can add that to the 140 our group last week had. This is our work together, friends, generating ideas. We haven't made any selections, separating ideation from evaluation. So let's try one more. Let's try one more. We're going to diverge again. I want you to think, we've just talked about respite. I want you to do kind of a universal scan of where you work, the folks that you serve, the things that you'd like to put in place. And we're going to shift again, diverge, defer judgment, go for quantity, build on the ideas of others, seek wild and crazy. Now in the chat, friends, if you would, think about and type what might be all the needs caregivers in your community have. What might be all the needs of caregivers in your community? Go ahead and type it in. Understanding, a break, grief support, adult daycare, money, time off, compassion, sounding board. This is terrific, friends. Sleep, friends, laughter, a place to go, an outlet, a fun space, links. What might be all the needs of caregivers in your community? Laughter, joy, take the weight off of them, safe space, a shoulder to cry on. What might be some new ideas when you look at this picture? Vacation, sleep, encouragement, education, information, faith. Big picture, hope, perspective. Knowing someone cares. The needs of caregivers in your community. Help with appointments and errands, knowing they're not alone. A pat on the back. Friends, what ideas do you get for needs in your community when you look at this new picture? Medication management, organization time, sorting, access to medical services, navigating the system, transportation to doctor's appointments, simplification, help with the system. What ideas do you get for needs in the community when you look at this picture? Recreation, fun, beauty shop visits, wide open spaces, paperwork. Taking a chance, some guidance, nature, haircuts, takes a village, freedom. Too many pieces and not enough connections, massages, fun. What ideas do you get for the needs of caregivers in your community when you look at this picture? Just plain fun, a night out, time out, entertainment, celebrate caregivers, enlightenment. They feel like they're going to explode, a chance to celebrate a party, look up instead of down, time to just be. What ideas do you get for needs in your community when you look at this picture? What new ideas, what new needs? Transportation to doctors, need to escape, to get out of Dodge, things to be streamlined, transportation for loved ones, a driver, mobile health, a road trip. This picture might be some of the needs in your community. Connection with others, need updating, uncomplicate the systems, clear communication, finding help in a tangled web, clarification. Might be all the needs in the community. Hearing aids, simplify, community hotline. Friends, a couple more. What ideas do you get for the needs in your community when you look at this picture? Community hotline, no judgment. Carrying the weight, self-care, lightening the load, good outcome measurement, promoting one's own health. Let's push for 2 more pictures. What ideas do you get for needs in the community? Caregivers in your community when you look at this picture. Relaxation, self-care, centering, meditation. Breathe. Time for exercise. Woohoo, Tai Chi. Soul connection. The needs of caregivers in your community. Let's try one more. What ideas do you get for the needs of caregivers in your community? Time for breathing, entertainment, music, inspiration, socialization. Friends, you're doing terrific. Just getting out of the house. To get dressed up, a night out. What might be the needs of caregivers in your community? Music, moments to remember. Culture, like a symphony, different voices to be heard, a beautiful setting. Friends, terrific. If you want to write down your last handful of ideas, Rob will be doing as best as a count as he can, seeing as these ideas are flying. If you want to just jot down your last ideas. Rob, approximately how many needs did you have? I know those were flying fast and furious.
I'm gonna guess, let's see, 25, 50, 75, 100, 125, I'm gonna say 176.
176, friends, outstanding. These are the needs. And here's the takeaway. You have the opportunity to put a new respite program in place. We're going to capture the needs. We're going to help you think about them, develop them, put in proposals, and support you throughout. Here's the thing. All we did, though, is generate ideas. At some point, we would have to converge on those ideas. Let me walk you through this. We're not going to do it today. The ground rules for convergent thinking. Apply affirmative judgment. What do you like about the idea? What sits with you? Be open to novelty. It might be crazy. We might need to tame it down, but we can. Keep novelty alive. It might just get us there. Be deliberate. Does it in fact have something in it that would solve the problem? And then lastly, stay the course. Don't be mentally lazy. When we converge, think of all of those ideas we now need to synthesize. A tool that I'll share with you today, we'll learn when our groups are together, is called highlighting. Highlighting, three-part tool. It lets you narrow from all of those ideas. Part number one, you hit some ideas, think dots or markers. You get to select some ideas. Clustering, putting like things together, and then restating the essence. That's how we're going to have a process so that selection isn't personal. Kind of looks like this. We're going to hit, interesting, useful, sits in your stomach. We just like it. Cluster things together and restate. We're going to hit. We're going to put like things together, and then we're going to capture the essence. So let's go back to the suitcase. All of those ideas that we had, 62 ideas for the suitcase, we would, if we were group, hit from those that we like, cluster them together, and you can see those circles. We would restate them. It might look something like this. The suitcase, hit, cluster, restate. We might have grouped some ideas about storage and compartments. We might have a user experience, accommodating tech features, kid-friendly. We might have had some ideas that clustered like this. Oh, and look at this, the Moto bag. Top speed, it's rechargeable, it has a USB port. Oh, and by the way, we can ride a couple. We can store that wine. I knew there was a friend indeed in the group. We can make them waterproof. We can make them have compartments. And we might want to even ride somebody on there. Friends, big takeaway for you. The effective problem solver separates idea generation from idea evaluation. Gas pedal, brake, separate the two. One of the main things that we would be stressing. So let's just look ahead and see what you can expect. The first handful of workshops take you through the research-based creative problem-solving process. Creative problem-solving is universal, widely accepted, no matter where you are in the world, your ethnicity, your language, what the problem is. We typically go through these 4 stages. We clarify the problem. What's going on? What's the context? What's really the problem? What's limiting me from being where I am to where I want to be? We generate ideas. We develop those so that we can build it, give it some legs, and then we look for an implementation plan. We explore the vision and identify the challenge, generate ideas, transform those ideas, and really kind of bring them to life. We explore acceptance, and we formulate a plan. We'll teach you all of those steps. Oh, and by the way, in each stage of the problem, you'll have many tools to take away for yourself, for your organization, for your family. We'll make application to your new idea and your proposal and your project, and help support you in training in your work. We'll talk a little bit about project management as well, our last session. Initiating, planning, monitoring and controlling, executing and closing so that we can get you away from a to-do list. We'll take you through the top components that take place in projects. Schedule, cost, procurement, stakeholder. We'll intersect those. We'll also, once you have your team in place, administer what's called foresight, the leading assessment on the thinking preferences of individuals toward problem solving. We all have a natural, kind of unbiased, maybe even unknown preference. We also call that cognitive diversity, how we respond to problems and challenges. Everybody will do their individual assessment. That's person's a very high clarifier. They want to understand. And then we'll do a group profile from everyone on your lead team who's putting in a proposal to see how you are going to operate and function. Friends, this is about preference, not ability. You'll have that from your team. Then also, as Lisa mentioned, we'll do some facilitation. I'll do these virtually. We'll do them in person. We'll use a variety of tools so that as you are planning new programs, we can ensure that the caregiver is engaged and is weighing in on what really works for them and perfecting your ideas. You'll have all kinds of technical assistance from myself and others on the team. I come in, I do a lot of coaching. I'll model the work with you. I'll help you engage your colleagues that are groups around you. As Lisa already mentioned, we have a handful of workshops. We'll do a great big overview, and then we'll clarify, ideate, develop, and implement, talk about PM principles, and then a handful of stakeholder engagement sessions in your community. We have these objectives that we said that we were going to meet. We're already beginning to meet with those. And just as I close out, friends, if you want to just take a little second, a little moment, and if you want to drop it into the chat, you can. Things that you thought were new or interesting and useful in our time just together today. Interesting, new, or useful that made you go, huh. Go ahead and drop those in the chat. Using props. And if you're thinking of some things that were new and useful to you, visuals, using photos, if there are any applications you can already be thinking about. New, interesting, and useful potential uses or applications, value of many. Friends, let me leave you with this. Tip number one of many you'll get from me, creativity etiquette. It's considered a crime against nature to diverge and converge at the same time. Don't do it. If you have questions, if you want to take a snapshot of that there, you'll have this up many, many, many times. But our work together will come to help train you, help have you practice and apply so that the project proposal that you put in and the proposal that you then oversee, you can have novel and useful ideas and you can manage it more effectively as a project. Any questions? If not, then I'll turn it back over to Lisa.
Any questions for Teresa? Teresa, thank you. That was fantastic, as always.
We had some very interesting, lots of value, appreciating it. And then I think we had
Our workshops.
Yep, go ahead, Lisa.
I was just gonna say, are they virtual? Yes. Yes, we're hoping to do one in the series, the final one in person at the end of March, one in Western New York to be determined location, depending on where you all are. We'll pick a convenient spot, and one in Washtenaw. But yes, virtual, primarily. Any other questions for Teresa? Well, thank you, everyone. And also, Teresa, thank you so much. The skills that you learn in Teresa's workshops are not only applicable to your respite proposal and your project, but also to your work broadly. It's a new way of thinking. It's a very practical set of tools that you can apply real time right away for everything from ongoing work to your respite project to how to make decisions at home. It's a really good technique. It definitely has sort of changed my language in many ways. Like, for example, in our meetings and our learning community sessions, we often ask questions like, what might be all the ways to do X? Or, trying to think broadly, trying to converge and then diverge. So it becomes a sort of a methodology that we use throughout the project, and it's fun and it's interesting. And probably all of our workshops will be virtual. Again, we're hoping to do one in person at the end, but we'll keep you posted on that if we'll be able to do that. Other questions? So we have just some open time now. It's been such a treat to see so many of you today, and your input throughout the session and increases workshops also just makes me so encouraged and excited about this group. You have fantastic ideas, and it would be really wonderful to work with all of you as we go forward in this journey together. So I want to truly encourage you to sign up for the workshop series. Sharon has the links for Western New York, and I know she's working on Washtenaw County as we speak. You can register right now for these to become part of this program. And again, I'll just make a plug. The workshops are step one. That's how you get involved in this. That's how you can be eligible to apply for a grant as a lead grantee organization. Not everyone that may be part of your team, I'll just say this much, has to go through the workshops. We encourage everyone to do it, and you're welcome to have as many folks from your organization participate as you'd like. That said, not every organization that's part of this program has to go through it, but if you want to be a grantee organization, then you need to have done the workshops. And again, they're fun, they're engaging. You see the approach that Teresa uses. It's time well spent, and I promise you it'll be a fun and enjoyable experience. How many other questions we have here? Nothing else in the chat for the moment. Feel free to unmute yourself, ask any questions about anything you heard today. I want to also just mention, you can feel free to, if you need some time to sort of think this through and think about how it could possibly be a fit for your organization or your community, I'd be delighted to talk to you about all of that. Just feel free to reach out to me. By email is good.
I also want to say that the email and phone number on our site is all mine. So if anyone wants to ask any questions, just call me.
Thank you so much, Carolyn. Yeah, I think hearing from our 3 teams is really one of the best ways to learn more about what this is really like. So I encourage you to check out their websites, learn more about their projects, how they structured them. And Carolyn, thank you for offering that outreach. You can also, if you want to, perhaps register another day, you need a little time to think about it or need to talk to folks, you can also visit our website, which is www.exhaleforcaregivers.org, and you can learn more and register for the sessions there as well. There's also lots of resources on our website about caregiving, some materials that feel free to access and use anything that's there. We'll be posting on the website the video from today, a recording from today's session, as well as the slides, my slides, the ones that talk about the overview. I'll also share some summary information about all the feedback that came in about words for respite and needs of caregivers and communities. We'll share that too. I'm thinking, is the list of possible partners on your website? Not at the moment, but what we will do when we have a full list of folks that are registered to participate in the workshop series, we will immediately share who's registered, and we can create a mini learning community that way right from the get-go. We have an existing list for our current projects of all of the partners involved in those projects. That's up on our website as well, but we haven't yet created that from today. We will work on that and get that ready to share with you soon, at the latest at the beginning of the workshop series. We'll try to get that out sooner if you'd like to start talking amongst yourselves. Thanks, Lisa. I also just want to, while people are still thinking of questions, I want to thank our supporters and our funders, the Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation, Health Foundation for Western and Central New York, and the Ann Arbor Area Community Foundations. You guys have been fantastic to work with, so inspirational in all the work that you're doing to support caregivers in your programs. And it's really a delight to be part of this team. And I want to thank you for this opportunity and for the chance to continue to grow this work throughout Western New York and now in Southeast Michigan. It's super exciting. Okay, last call for questions, and we'll give you 5 minutes back in your day. I'm excited to see many of you saying you're signed up and you can't wait for the workshops. That is just wonderful, and I can't wait either. It'll be tons of fun, I promise, and we'll, together create a tremendous opportunities for caregivers throughout Western New York and Southeast Michigan to take a break and get support from their communities. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Let's be in touch.